This is a recorded version. New questions can't be taken. If you want to ask the question to the panelist, please join the live session every Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York Time, or 4:30 p.m. IST India Time.
Scheduled every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Those who would miss to attend the Saturday session can listen to the broadcast of replay on Sunday at 4:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. The aim of this forum is to give the entire globe an opportunity to learn the ancient science of meditation and benefit from this pious service inspired by Sadguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj, the pioneer of Vihangam Yoga. If you are interested in learning the technique or want to conduct a program at your place, and for any inquiries related to it, please feel free to write to us at info@vihangamyog.org.
Jai Sadgurudev to everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Vihangam Yoga Online Global Satsang. I thank you all for taking the time out to join us today. If it's your first time, whether it's your first time, your second time, we thank you for your support and for joining us on this platform. Time is a very deep and impactful concept. Time is the backdrop of our lives. And just like anything in life, there is a specific time in which everything, when performed, can give us maximum effect and impact. The topic for today is very closely tied with time. And without going into it too deeply, we will be looking into a topic known as Brahmuhurta, a wake-up call from divine to greatness. I thank and welcome our panel for today, our global panel. We're joined by Vinitha Ji, Rekha Ji, and Ranjita Ji from the US. And we're also joined by Chandra Ji and Shekhar Ji from Australia. And our prime speaker of the day, Mr. Simant Ji, is joining us from Kenya. So welcome to all. And I, myself, am Abhinav. I'm joining you all from Sydney. And it gives me great excitement to bring this edition to you once again. So let's get straight into it. Of course, as with every Vihangam Yoga Satsang, we'd like to start by offering a prayer in the feet of our Master and welcome the Master to our platform and to our Satsang. And so without further ado, I'd like to request Vinitha Ji to take over and take us through the Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan so that we may proceed further. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinav Ji. Jai Sadgurudev to all. Swagat Gan. Aji Swagat Nitya Guruvar Sant Subha Gamaye Adhyatma Vidya Divya Jyoti Somaras Barasaye Dosha Durgun Dur Karike Shuddhan Sabanaye Vedagam Gati Gyan Garjan Shakti Dwar Hataiye Khule Dwara Shabd Sagar Bhakta Jan Anhwaiye Jan Sada Fal Viswasikshak Shanayan Bachaiye Aaj Swagat Nitya Guru Sant Subha Gamaye बोले सदगुरुदेव की जय। मंगल गान। विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए वर्ग द्वंद्व अशांति दूर कर भाव भेद मिटाइए सार्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता ध्यात्म राज्य बनाइए भेष भाषा भाव जग में ज्ञान पर दरसाइए समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए। बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव की जय। Back to Abhinav ji.
Thank you very much, Vinitha ji. Thank you for putting forward these very soulful words from our master. Now we move to another very important section of our satsang today, which is the section on Swarved. And as we all know, the Swarved is a very deep composition written by Sadhguru Sadafal Deji Maharaj in his state, in a deeply meditative state, when he was writing his own experience of his journey through spirituality. All spiritual concepts we can understand through the Swarved. And so I'd like to now give the control to Rekha ji from the US to take us through some dohas of the Swarved, and then we'll proceed further.
Thank you, Abhinav ji, and Jai Shri Gurudev, everybody. Dear friends, whenever we perform any activity, we should know how best we can execute and how to get the best results. In spirituality also, this principle applies. And today's topic is where we are discussing about the best time to practice the meditation, which is Brahmuhurta. Swarved says, Brahmuhurta kaal mein mila gyan upadesh सब गुरुओं पर गुरुवर दीन बोध निज देश. Sadguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj, during his Guha Anushtan, used to get up in the Brahmuhurta, that is the time between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., and practice meditation until sunset. And only after sunset he used to go for a walk. Sadguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj got the knowledge of Brahma Vidya, the science of consciousness, from the eternal master in Brahmuhurta only. The eternal master blessed Sadguru Dev the experience of immortal zone during this time. Further, Swarved says, नियमित दोनों काल में ब्रह्म मुहूर्त सुधार योगाभ्यास दृढ़ हो चले सब अंग पूर्ण सवार. To enjoy the full benefit of yoga, one should practice Vihangam Yoga meditation both time, morning and evening. And in Brahmuhurta, that is the time between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., practicing like this will give the full fruit of yoga abhyas. This is a guidance as well as order of Sadguru Dev for our own benefit. A true Vihangam Yoga disciple must follow this without any miss. Our mind is very clever and it somehow always tries to put the yoga practice aside by bringing many other priorities first. But we should become firm on our decision of yoga practice and pray to Lord Sadguru Dev and then proceed. शनै शनै अभ्यास को आगे ले बढ़ाय मन माया को मार के अंतर बैठे धाय. Slowly and gradually increase the practice of Brahma Vidya Vihangam Yoga meditation. This is the only way we can conquer the mind and overcome our ignorance and progress in the path of spirituality. With this, I would like to end here. Boliye Sadguru Deva ki jai. Over to you, Abhinavji.
Thank you very much, Rekhaji. As we heard, the practice of meditation it's told for us to do it both in the morning and evening. But as the master is explaining to us, even this practice, there is a time, there is a kal, one of the fundamental entities, kal. We must respect this time. We must search for and seek to understand why is it that there is a certain time when we must meditate. What is the significance of this time? What is it that our spiritual masters tell us about this time? Now it brings me great excitement to take us to the next part of this session. Joining us from Kenya is Simant ji. He is, in his professional life, a practicing chartered accountant and a founder and chairman of the 5 Elements Group in Kenya. His operations spread across Kenya, Tanzania, Mauritius, Canada, India. And so, most importantly, he is a seeker. He is a practitioner of Vihangam Yoga. And today, not only are we all looking to learn about this topic, we are all going on a journey to understand the significance of this very important time. And so without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Simant ji, and let's go on this journey with him and seek to understand what this wake-up call from divine to greatness truly is. Simant ji.
Thank you, Abhinavji. Jai Sarudev, and warm greetings to all listeners and seekers. For our listeners who are Indians, also wishing you a very happy 70th Republic Day. I'm so pleased to welcome you to this session on Brahmuhurta, your wake-up call from Divine. We all want to win this battle of putting our mind ahead of our cozy bed. So friends, let's dive into this straight and we will explore together how elite performers harness the potential of this divine time called Brahmuhurta. How can you get ready for your best game you always wanted to play in this life? We will also discuss what Ayurveda talks about Brahmuhurta and what balancing activities done during this time gives you enduring result through the day. And lastly, what is the divine significance of Brahmuhurta for a spiritual practitioner and Sadguru Dev's profound experience associated with Brahmuhurta, which is quite inspirational. So, can you think about what is common among the following people? Benjamin Franklin, Mother Teresa, the late Steve Jobs, and Tim Cook's currently from Apple, PM Narendra Modi, and President George Bush. They all have a common trait, and which is that they were all early risers. So if you are looking to live your best life, should you be a night owl or an early bird? In order to answer that question, let's understand what Brahmuhurta is and when it happens. Under the mythological Indian clock, each day is divided into 8 pahar, and each pahar comprises of 3 hours each. And that's what makes 24 hours in a day. The last pahar of the night before the sunrise is called the Manohar Pahar. And Brahmuhurta starts approximately 96 minutes before the sunrise, which is roughly around 1.5 hours before the first rays of the sun hit the place where you are. So what happens during this time? The nature is at its purest best. It is waking up, and when you align your body cycle to the nature cycle, you will see the mysteries of this human life unfolding within you. During this time, the level of oxygen is estimated to be highest, around 41%. Hence, practice of pranayams during Brahmuhurta, when the oxygen content is high, strengthens your lungs. It detoxifies your body through release of toxins. It improves the flow of blood, which carries oxygen to the brain, and overall gives vitality to your body. Practice of pranayams during Brahmuhurta, like Bhastrika Pranayam, Bhramari Pranayam, Nadi Shodhan, they are all advisable. This cleanses the path, the stream, the channel that we call nadis, through which pranas, the vital life force, flow through in our body. If you would like to learn any of these, please leave your contact on our numbers, and one of our team members will connect you to an expert from ashram. So let's proceed. Let's understand what Ayurveda talks about Brahmuhurta. Ayurveda science says that our body has 3 principal building blocks, or the Prakriti. They are Vat, Kapha, and Pitta. So Vat does all circulatory movements in our body, like blood circulation, bone movement, breathing process. And Kapha does all lubricating actions in our body. So our spinal fluid, our brain fluid, the gel in our cartilages, making the stool like a paste, these are all done by Kapha Prakriti. And the last, Pitta, with the fire element, is responsible for actions like digestion and our eyesight, the way we see. These are also called Tridosha because an imbalance between these 3 causes illness and ailments. Now you must be thinking, why am I sharing this with you? Because we need to understand that each of these three fundamental Prakriti is more active than others during different points of time during the day. For example, in the morning time, Kapha is super active. During the daytime, Pitta is super active. And in the night time, Vata Vayu is super active. So Brahmuhurta is a time which is an intersection time when there is a change of hands happening between Vayu and Kapha. So circulatory motion activated by Vata makes your bowel movement active, and Kapha lubricates the stool and allows an easy release. So if you build an habit of waking up in Brahmuhurta, then the likelihood of you suffering from issues like constipation is remote. And since most health issues find their roots from stomach, if your stomach is clean, you would have warded off many anticipatory diseases. And last, what is the spiritual significance of Brahmuhurta? Saints, our seers, our sages, they experienced that moon dissolves its immortal rays called Amrit Ras in atmosphere during Brahmuhurta. And that's why Brahmuhurta is also popularly called Amrit Bela. There is an unprecedented shift in energy happening in your body, aligned with the Prakriti, as both are waking up. Our mind is inherently quiet and very stable during Brahmuhurta. Prathamacharya Sri Dharmchandra Dev Ji Maharaj says that this is the time when all yoga practitioners should leave their bed. What is the first thing they should do? They should do Ushapan. Take a liter of lukewarm water. Then go ahead and complete your toilet activities. And then sit for Brahm Vidya Vihangam Yoga Sadhana. Brahm Sadhana in Brahmuhurta will unlock the mysteries of this human life. Brahmuhurta is the time when Sadgurudev is guiding and counseling the practitioner in experiencing subjects like self-realization and God-realization, because these realization subjects are not intellectual experiences. And that is the importance of Sadguru. He helps you realize the obvious, conceive which is not conceivable by mind and intellect, unless your true potential, and unfold the science that exists within you. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj talks fondly about how, when he was looking for a true path of God realization and could not find a master, one day during Brahmuhurta, eternal Sadguru's voice from the void came and enlightened him that what you are practicing would not lead you to the ultimate truth. And then the internal Sadguru initiated him in the Brahm Vidya Vihangam Yoga Sadhana. He says in Sarved about this experience, Brahmuhurta Kal mein mila gyan updesh, sab guruon par guruvar, deen bodh nij desh. Deen bodh nij desh means that he showed him his natural abode and where he came from. So friends, as I inch towards closing this talk, I would like to sum up by saying that Brahmuhurta is not like a solar or a lunar eclipse that comes to us once in many years. The good news is that Brahmuhurta happens every day. It is just a few hours away from now. So you don't have to wait too long to get started and be most productive. Build your willpower. Beat stress through your power of concentration. Stay healthy. And lastly, always remain in harmony within through your spiritual progress. With that, I wish to freeze myself. We will take more questions in the upcoming Q&A. In the meantime, over to Abhinavji for the next session. Thanks. Jai Surudev.
Thank you so much, Simantji. I think even for me personally, that talk sheds so much light on so many questions that arise in any practitioner's mind. We all begin on this journey of spirituality, seeking to understand, seeking to grow and learn, and to understand and learn that there is a time when we can practice Brahmuhurta Vihangam Yoga and gain its maximum impact. It is really so comforting and so relieving to hear. Simantji also gave us a wonderful exploration into the way in which Hindu mythology breaks down a day into the depth of Ayurvedic sciences. And I believe we all have something very treasured, something very wonderful to gain. So before we continue, I'd just like to mention that our Q&A session, which is coming up, we'd love to interact with you all. We have a page ready for you where you may submit questions. I'll be checking this page during our Q&A session and trying my best to address as many as possible. You can ask your questions as it's coming up on the screen now on www.slido.com/VYGOS. Now, to continue our session, we next have a bhajan. Bhajans, of course, have a deep significance as well. And they give us a chance to really go deep into our feelings towards our master or towards spirituality itself and present some soulful words in a way which deeply respects not only the heritage of spirituality, but also the spiritual masters. And so without further ado, I'd like to now hand over to Chandlaji, who's joining us from Australia. He'll be presenting a bhajan to us, and after that, we will proceed to the Q&A. So please, as we proceed, please do think about any doubts or questions you may have about Simantji's talk or about this topic in general, and we will try our best to address these. But for now, let's hand over to Chandlaji.
Jai Sadgurudev. Hello everyone and pranam. I'm going to offer a prayer from Shabd Prakash. Mera Rakshak Mahaprabhu hai. In this bhajan, Swamiji is offering his prayer in the holy feet of Nityanadi Sadgurudev by saying that there is no need to be afraid of anything because you are my holy guide and protector. मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है। चिंता मन तू काहे किया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु। ज्ञान योग उपदेश विश्व में निर्भय पद अधिकार दिया। विद्या परायोग तत्व दुर्लभ, जा बिन मानव जन्म छिया। सो उपदेश देव जग जीवन, सो उपदेश देव जग जीवन। प्रभु से क्या मैं भूल किया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है। चिंता मन तू काहे किया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है। जो मैं सत्य तत्व छानी, तामे दुर्जन विघ्न किया। सत्य विजय जग होत सदा से, सत्य विजय जग होत सदा से। चाहे कोई छल बल केत किया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है। चिंता मन तू काहे किया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है। प्रभु शरणागत निर्भय हंसा, आवागमन दुख पार किया। गति अनन्य प्रभु आश शरण में, गति अनन्य प्रभु आश शरण में। भार सदा फल आप लिया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु है। चिंता मन तू काहे किया, मेरा रक्षक महाप्रभु। Thank you. Over to you, Abhinav ji.
Thank you so much, Chandraji, for this beautiful bhajan. This bhajan really leaves me personally quite speechless. It's such a beautiful composition. Mera Rakshak Mahaprabhu hai. Why be afraid when your master is so great? Why be afraid when your master is always there to protect you? Now we enter our next part of the session, our Q&A session, where we get to hear any doubts, any further clarifications you seek regarding this topic. And so we're also joined now by Shekhar Kishorji from Australia. I'd like to welcome him to this platform as well. Shekharji is also an avid practitioner of Vihangam Yoga meditation and professionally is a quality and compliance manager at Open Colleges, Australia. So I welcome him, and what I'll be attempting to do for the next 15 to 20 minutes is bouncing between the expertise which Simantji and Shekharji can provide us on this topic to answer some of the questions you have. There's some really great questions coming through, so I'll try my very best to address all of these with the team we have here. So first up, I'll actually pass this question over to Shekharji. This is actually a question which I myself always have as a practitioner, as a seeker, as a person who is trying to wake up in Brahmuhurta. The question states, the seeker states, what if one has not slept the night? Should they still continue the practice in Brahmuhurta or sleep and then practice? What is better? So I'll hand this one over to Shekharji and let's see what we can learn from this.
Jai Sadgurudev. Good evening, everybody. I think you asked a question which is very commonly asked by our young seekers and professionals who are working in the industry, who always have a battle in balancing their day and balancing the time of when to go to bed and how many things they have to complete before they go to bed. And quite frequently you hear, it's a logical question that why should I and how can I get up when I go to bed quite late because I've been working so late? It all comes down to two things, in my opinion. First thing is, what is what is the way you want to live your life? Do you want to live a balanced life? Do you want to understand how best to get the optimal performance from within, from your own efforts, from your day-to-day life? There's never going to be a day when everything will be comfortable and everything will work to your schedules, to your liking. It is us, the onus is on us to find that balance, to understand that. As Simant ji was explaining during his speech, that what is the significance for in the most common man's word. We try, when we get up in the morning during the Brahmuhurta, what we do is we align our energy to the nature. As the nature is waking up, we also are programmed to wake up at that time. So by aligning our energy, we acquire that capability that we can perform at an optimal level, not just for an hour or two, but all day long. So the question is that if I haven't slept early, if I have slept very late, what should I do? I think looking at the practical status of life, it depends on individuals, what type of work they're doing. Some do evening shift, some do night shift. Some have to work according to different countries' time zones. So these are some practical realities which we have to find solutions of how best, but it all comes down to how balanced we want to live, what is our goal. And ultimately, we are also a living being living in this nature. And it is in our best interest to slowly find that discipline in our sleeping pattern and get up early in the morning so that we are actually able to benefit from all the blessings which are available to us through nature. I hope this answers the question. Over to you.
Thank you, Shekharji. It's a very great question. And as Shekharji explained, all adjustments, of course, will be a little difficult at the start, but as Simantji explained to us, there's such great benefits that, as Shekharji was saying, the difficulties we experience at the start and the slow adjustments we make will hopefully give us a very divine and deep experience. So the next question I'll actually pass over to Simantji. So there's quite a few questions which have a very similar theme around, what we should do, how to adjust towards the Brahmuhurta. One of the seekers, or a few of the seekers are saying and questioning, I wake up but am half asleep during Brahmuhurta sometimes. What can I do to get strongly active? So I'll pass this one over to you, Simantji, and let's see what we can learn.
Thank you, Abhinavji. Great question, very practical. All of us go through this. So, there is an old saying that, we are what we repeatedly do. So, old habits have a very strong gravity pull. For example, people know that, smoking is injurious. But, even the smoking pack, has got very disturbing images of mouth cancer printed on it. But there is very little data to show that at any time a tobacco manufacturing company went bankrupt. So Sadhguru Kabir Sahib, says that Sach kahun to koi na patije, jhoot jag pati aaye, gali gali go ras bike, madira baith bikaye. So getting into a new habit is never easy. People drive miles from their home looking for their favorite whiskey to enjoy in the weekend, but milk, which is good for health, has to be delivered by a milkman to your doorstep every day. If you go in any city in any part of the world, especially if you go to a CBD downtown area, you will see that old books which are full of wisdom, they are being sold on street at very heavy discount. And there are very few takers. While on the other side, shoes are being sold in air-conditioned showroom and people are paying top dollars to buy them. So thing is, good does not attract the mind very easily. Breaking off from old habits needs a bit more than willpower. So as a seeker asks that what can I do to get strongly active, I would suggest you that building new habits is an intersection of three things: knowledge, desire, and skills. Knowledge tells you what to do and why to do. Desire is a natural want, and skills tells you how to do it. And I use an acronym for this: KDS: knowledge, desire, and skills. So if I have to answer this in the context of trying to get up in Brahmuhurta, look for what is the natural want for you. What is the desire? Is your desire that you want to be highly productive in your day-to-day activities? Or your desire is to think through with clarity on different issues? You want to prepare a roadmap for your next goal? Your desire could be to live a healthy life and not waste your funds while regularly visiting a doctor. So you might decide to live your life through Ayurvedic mantra, where lifestyle is your medicine. Or your desire could be spiritual enlightenment, for which our saints have validated that Brahmuhurta time is the time to get in action. So the first is desire. What's the desire? What is the pulling factor? Then comes knowledge, what to do and why to do. So we have covered that today in my earlier talk. So let me come straight to the skill on how to do it. So your desire is fine, but the method also has to be right. So what are the best practice here? The best practice is, some of the best practices are that your evening meal should be very light. Try to avoid taking supper after 8 p.m. Don't take sweets and immediately try to go to sleep. Between your supper and your going to bed to sleep, keep at least 40 minutes to an hour. Get to bed in time so that you can have at least 6 hours of sleep. Set an alarm to start off. When you get up in the morning, take a glass of lukewarm water. You can add honey, lemon. Lemon is an antioxidant. They make your body alkaline. It throws toxin. Take a walk in your room. You can do tadasan. Then go and complete your toilet activities. Then with clean clothes, sit in your prayer room and commence the pranayam followed by Brahmuhurta meditation. So what I'm basically trying to say is that you will have to make your early morning experience count as a motivation for your next day. You can also try to team up, with other people in your family, with your spouse, with your children. Make them part of it so that it becomes a family activity. And once you have been able to organize this pattern, you will have to work to ritualize it. Set a target that for the next 21 days, you will go for it without fail. And you will see that as you start gaining benefit, this will lift you off from the gravity pull of the old habit. So that's what comes to my mind. Over to you, Abhinavji back.
Thank you very much, Simantji. Thank you for offering such practical tips for how we can best align ourselves with this divine time. The next question, I think we have time for maybe 2 to 3 more questions. So let's continue with this process. The next question one of our seekers is asking which is a question I'll actually direct towards Shekharji, which is, how is Brahmuhurta timing decided? 3 to 5 a.m. in India is different in my country. So what would Brahmuhurta timing be for me? So I'll hand this very good question over to Shekharji.
Thank you. I think it's a very practical question because and it's really great that this clarification is sought. As Simantji was explaining earlier in his talk, our ancient saints they divided the day of 24 hours into 8 hours, and it is every 3 hours. So it's the eighth pair within which the Brahmuhurta lies, which is the most important thing to remember is that it is the last 90 minutes prior to which the sunlight touches your area, the part of the world that is Brahmuhurta. So I think it's important to understand that it is not about the Brahmuhurta in India, the time in India. The same zone applies everywhere in the world. It's where you live and the time when the sun rises. That's when nature awakens. And that's where you also should awaken, and you should align your energy and get the best benefit out of it by meditating at this most pious time. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Shekharji. Very, very great question. Very insightful question. Something that I've also thought about a lot being in Sydney. When should I be aligning myself? I'm really glad that we've got some clarity. The next question I'll direct to Simantji. So we'll just rotate a little bit. So the next question is, during the talk you mentioned little guides and counsels the process when you are in meditation in Brahmuhurta. One question that comes straight in my mind as a seeker is that there are so many people meditating. How does he guide all of these people at the same time? So I'll direct this question towards you, Simantji. A great question on how the Sadguru is guiding us all. So I'll ask for your counsel on this one.
Fine. Thanks, Abhinavji, for that question. So that reminds me, of a story that, once upon a time, Sadgurudev, during a morning walk, asked, one of the Shishya that, do you get up in Brahmuhurta for sadhana? So the Shishya's eyes twinkled and he said very happily that, yes, I make sure that I diligently get up every morning during Brahmuhurta. Sadgurudev says that, do you get up or are you being woken up? And that followed a long silence between both of them. So friends, what I would like to share with you on this question is that if your eyes open and you feel fully awake at around 3 or 4 in the morning, please do not always misconstrue that this to be insomnia. After a deep sleep, if you are awake in Brahmuhurta, it's a call from divine. He wants you to wake up and get engrossed in self-discovery, to unravel the mysteries of this human life. So, how will the unraveling happen? In science, we have read that energy can neither be created, it cannot be destroyed. Energy can only be transferred. So, who will do the transfer of the divine energy during Brahmuhurta? It will happen through the Sadguru. How does it transfer to so many people meditating at one go? Sarved answers that. Swamiji says, "Hai sameep dekhe nahi, vah dekhe sab koi." There is a saint near you. He sees you, but you don't see him. And he is the deputy of the Supreme. Dut Sandesi Purushaka Sadguru Deva Hamar. He is the one who has been tasked to manifest and unravel the spiritual mysteries of this universe. So he transcends the energy in Gupta Bhav to all aspirants and seekers during that time. Sadgurudev fondly shares in Sarved about his encounter with the energy of eternal Sadguru during Brahmuhurta sadhana. when he was touched by eternal Sadguru at a specific point in his head and asked to meditate there. He says, Bala pan abhyas mein mam shir angul rakh, tab mahima jana nahi anya kavan dosa. So when you sit in Brahmuhurta meditation and you invite and pray to the Sadguru's energy to come and guide you, he's just there. He's the one who can get you to Supreme Being in a moment. Sadguru Deen Dayal Jahi Par Kirpa Kinha, Todi Moh Brahm Jal Amar Pad Pal Mein Dina, one moment. And that is the importance of Sadguru and how he gives the divine to so many practicing during Brahmuhurta. So I invite you to join the Brahmuhurta Club and experience this 4 mm revolution in your life. Back to you, Abhinavji.
Thank you very much, Simantji. With that, we wrap up our Q&A session. I'd like to thank all the seekers who put forward their questions. I'd also really love to encourage everyone to put forward your thoughts, put forward any doubts you have for any of the future talks as well. This is one of the awesome opportunities we have to gain some insight from people who have great experience in this area. So next week, we'll have another very impactful topic, which I'll shortly mention straight after our Shanti part, which will be performed by Ranjita ji from the US. And then we'll wrap up our session for today and we'll continue further. So I'll pass over to you, Ranjita ji, so that you can perform the Shanti part.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Jai Sadgurudev, everybody. Shanti part. बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव की जय। हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांतिमय शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांतिमय शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति। बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव की जय। बैक टू होस्ट।
Thank you, Ranjita ji. And so that brings us to the end of today's session. Today we started our journey with the Swagat Gan from Vinita ji. We then went to the Swarve Dohas with Rekha ji. Then we dove into the depth of our topic with Simant ji. Chandra ji gave us a wonderful bhajan. And then Simant ji and Shekhar ji gave us a wonderful exploration into some of the questions we had. And lastly, we had Ranjita ji giving us a wonderful ending to this session. And so at this point, I'd like to just quickly mention next week's topic. Next week, our topic is named, Why Does a 1-Year Child Suffer from Cancer? This is a question which many of us have. There are so many injustices in the world. Where do they come from? How do they fit into the fabric of how everything is put together? There are so many spiritual rules and concepts we hear about. How can these injustices arise? So next week, we'll dive into this topic. I'd also like to mention questions are almost the main part of why we are trying to reach out to all of you wonderful listeners and viewers. You can always ask your questions on WhatsApp and slido.com even after the session. and we will do our dual best to address them, whether it be in the next session or in a future session. We will definitely come around to them. It's not that one question is good, one question is bad. We think every question should be invited on this platform because we are all here to learn. And so without further ado, I'd like to wrap up this session. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to thank our global panel. And lastly, I'd like to pray in this Master's feet that we all grow and learn and start to practice the Brahma sadhana in Brahma. Thank you all, and Jai Sudha.
Jai Swar Ved Katha